Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your host, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Gamer Tag Radio, episode 875. This is your host, Danny, and also joining me this week, we have the whole Gamer Tag Radio crew up in here. Let's start with Pete, man. Pete, what's up?
Yo, good morning. Happy Cinco de Drinko, May 5th.
Oh.
Cinco de Mayo.
Were you celebrating last night or no?
I was celebrating last night with many beers and hot pot, and we're good.
Oh. How are you feeling, though?
Oh no, I'm doing well.
Okay. And also joining us, also Paris. What's going on, Paris?
Hey, good morning. How is everybody?
Good, man. Good. Are you going to be celebrating today or not?
Yeah. Actually, my son and I, we're going to go fishing right after this podcast. Ooh. So that's how I'm celebrating.
Nice. Very cool. All right, head over to gamertagradio.com. Post your comments and feedback. Also, you can listen to our past episodes over there. Share with your friends if you want, or you can find us different podcast apps. Just search for Gamertag Radio and we're there, and make sure to subscribe, post a review, and of course, once again, share it.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
We have a lot of topics for this episode. By the way, next week, I think it's time for us to start our Miss Leo E3 prediction, all the way from starting next week to June. Once E3 starts and everything. So stay tuned. We have a lot of crazy predictions here, so that's going to be fun. That's starting next week. Also, at the end of the show, we're going to talk about more about donations. We're going to have a little update about that. So stay tuned. So we're going to have a conversation here about Borderlands 3. The reveal just happened a couple of days ago. I remember getting together with P in Paris. We were watching it together, and we had little conversations about everything. So at the beginning, we were kind of like, oh, man, I hope we get to see some new stuff here. But overall, I think it was very positive. Very, very positive. We're going to talk about that and other things later on. But first, let's focus on the reveal. And let's start with Pete, man, because I know you, Pete. You always been a fan of Borderlands, right?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Your thoughts about the reveal, man, because I think it was very, very positive, man, overall.
Well,
great presentation.
I think the overall concern going into the reveal was the fact that with all of the new looter shooters out in this space, obviously Destiny, The Division, games in the overall looter shooter space, the concern was, what is Gearbox going to do to bring it to 2019, considering it had been 5 or 6 years since their last release? Mm-hmm. They are the OG in the space, right? They are the ones that pretty much started this whole thing. We actually started talking about this a couple of shows back, where it was like, what are some of the best looter shooters to play? And we're so in the current that we forget about sometimes those that brought this genre out. And watching it, seeing how they're no longer on quote unquote Earth, right? Sanctuary is now up in space. You've got not just the OG gameplay style of the first two Borderlands, but now you've got different things. They've iterated and changed things to make it better. You can automatically pick up weapons. The scaling of weapons is instance based. So now if I'm level 20 and Danny is level 5 and Paris is level 15, we're all playing together, the loot that gets dropped is actually tiered to you specifically and not in general, right? So if you've got people like me who like run in and spam E and pick up all of the loot, it's not going to affect either of you that are playing with me. Things like that. They're just little minor tweaks. I see how they've they've picked up some of the other, they've picked up some things from other games, such as like maybe Apex with, being able to slide and things like that. Just little minor quality of life changes while still staying to the original story and gameplay and style of the Borderlands series. I'm not going to lie. I was a little hesitant. Mm-hmm. I might have a nice fat cup of, juice right now because I'm sipping the Kool-Aid hard, man. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It looks
really good. It looks really, really good. And dude, they showed a lot of cool weapons too, man, during the presentation. Was there any weapons that got your attention, Pete, during the review?
That's one of the little perks that they have is per characters. Like this guy was able to throw his turrets similar to like what you would see in the Division, but the turrets would actually turn mobile and go towards the bosses or towards the enemies as opposed to being static. Again, it's the wacky, zany gameplay shooter style that you expect from the Borderlands series. And it's looking a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely, man. And Paris, what about you, man? I know we had a lot of conversation about this too behind the scenes about the game.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, like you already said, I came in very skeptical. I even said that prior to this reveal. I don't know. I don't want just what are they going to do to update this for where we are today in 2019 versus where we were, say, back in 2012 playing these type of games. And like Pete said, the biggest thing that I saw were the quality of life changes. They kept Borderlands. They kept it. It has the Borderlands feel, but they updated it for 2019 and they made little tiny tweaks for the way that we play these games now in 2019. Obviously, a big one is having the personal loot streams and having the leveling, so people can play together no matter what level that they are. It looks to work great because obviously we didn't get hands on with it directly, but one thing that came out after the event was the fact that they're going to talk more about their in-game strategy at E3. There will be raids in Borderlands 3, and the just the size of the world has grown. Just everything that we got to see. It still has the humor that comes with the Borderland type stories. Everything. So overall, as much as I wasn't a huge fan of Borderlands coming into this, I mean, it's definitely piqued my interest. It's definitely I'm doing the air quotes looter shooter that I would want to check out when it comes out in September. And just again, to be perfectly frank, it was not on my radar at all until I actually got to see the gameplay, which goes to show that the reveal worked. It worked for what it should have been, was to get someone like me who is very skeptical to now pique my interest. And I want to see more. I want to get hands on with it. I want to play it. So I'm pretty excited about it because I love these type of games. I love the co-op experience of the challenges that potentially Borderlands 3 could present. It's different enough from Destiny or The Division or Anthem that obviously it can live right alongside all of those games. And if anything, it has a great shot at taking the crown from all of them and being the preferred co-op experience for those type of loot-driven games, here in late 2019 going into 2020. So, yeah, definitely want to see more of it at E3. And then obviously we know it's coming in September for launch. So pretty excited for it.
Yeah, I know during the review, we were watching it together and I was like, man, I'm okay that they didn't mention anything about Endgame or anything like that. So, yeah, man, like I was very happy about that. Like, what I was concentrating more about, like the campaign, is it longer than the previous games? Like, that's the thing that I really wanted to focus. And dude, they did a great job because I think 45 minutes of the gameplay reveal was just strictly gameplay. That's all they were doing, just showing gameplay. And one thing that I'm really excited about, which I know they haven't really been talking about this, but crossplay, that's going to be a big thing too once they reveal that in the future.
Well, if they reveal that, right? I know people have been asking about that. People are asking on Twitter, asking him directly. And, I don't know. I think it's still up in the air whether they're going to go full on crossplay. Considering the fact that it's not a typical online multiplayer game a la like Rocket League or Fortnite, games that have already taken advantage of those things. It's primarily a PvE looter shooter. I don't see the overall longevity. I think that would be the one thing that would be the target, right? How do you continue, unless they're continuing to iterate and add more content in the form of, which I have to give it up to Gearbox. They've always been really, really strong with post-game content, right? We saw that with all three of their last releases in the franchise.
Yeah.
How long, and kind of like what you were saying, Danny, how long will these missions be? How long will it extend the gamer and their playtime? Will you be able to get your 20 to 40 hours, which most people say is consummate to the equivalent of quality gameplay to dollar? Is this going to be something that the three of us can be seen playing a year plus after launch? Taking into account post-game launches, etc. That's the only thing, because it doesn't have that multiplayer facet to it. That's the one thing that does concern me for long-term longevity. But
honestly, too, Pete, I think that it's okay that we're not playing with this. We're not playing this game like a year from now. Like the thing that I was mentioning to you guys during the stream, like, hey, look, if the campaign is long, I'm okay with that, man. I just want to have a great experience and then move on to the next game. That's fine too. But then Paris, a couple of days after that, he was telling me, oh no, they're gonna have Endgame and all this stuff. They're gonna reveal that later this year. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, it's even better. Like, I think we got so used to seeing games like Destiny and The Division having Endgame and all that stuff. Like, it's okay, but to me, it's okay if it's not in the game, man. If it's not in Borderlands, like, I'm fine with that, man. I just want to have a great
I'm not trying to say
experience.
that. I'm not trying to say that multiplayer is needed. I'm just trying to say that where is Gearbox going to get the long play for gamers, right? Because the goal with any developer, and it's not just them, the goal is to bring in that player and have them stay within that ecosystem for a longer term, right? Because you have and we'll get to the to post game launch content and microtransactions discussion, because that's where the real fun, I think, begins, right?
Yeah.
But the goal is to keep players engaged in the game and playing long term. How are they going to do that aside from just content? Are they going to drop enough content that's going to satisfy the gamer? Because let's be fair. Right now in 2019, there's a lot of titles that are out currently and coming out later this year that are going to be vying for that valuable 3 to 4 hours that the standard player, the typical player, has available for gameplay. What is it that they're going to do outside of their storyline and the history of Borderlands that's going to separate them? It's going to separate Paris from Destiny and The Division. What's going to separate Peter from Apex and Division 2? What's going to separate Danny from, your casual games?
Why? I've been noticing you always mention casual, level 5. Dude, you don't know where I'm playing. No, honestly, on purpose, I took a break from Destiny. Not Destiny, The Division. I'm probably going to be playing that very soon, but I was super excited about the content that was coming up, and then I stopped playing it, but
what's going to separate, and that was just an internal joke, but what's going to separate, what's going to separate us from our favorite current games right now? Outside, all right, the hype is going to be that first 2-week window where everybody's jumping in because it's new and it's fresh and it's not what people are currently playing. But once that adrenaline rush expires in 2 weeks and 3 weeks, when it starts to taper off, how much more are they going to offer? Let's say in 3 weeks, the three of us, let's say we're all playing on Xbox, right? We all run through it co-op. We've loved it, but we've beaten it. What keeps us in there? And that's the concern. Like, what other things are they going to offer?
I do have a question for you guys. So, for a game like this, forget about multiplayer, endgame, all that. Just campaign wise, because Destiny, I feel like the campaign was very short. The Division was very long. I think it was like a good 40 hours or so. How many hours do you think a game like this, Borderlands, should have? Like, it should be more than that, 40 or less? Paris?
40. Seems like a good number for this type of game. So I would expect something around there, to be honest.
You, Pete?
Yeah, I 30 to 40 is probably a good solid number to get me as a dollar to hour ratio, I guess.
Okay. But there was also controversy during the review. Actually, it was after the review. That's when I started seeing the tweets and everything. So Randy Pitchfork, he's the CEO of Gearbox.
Yeah.
On stage, he was like, "Oh, we're not gonna have no microtransactions," and there you see the crowd clapping and cheering. All right. I don't know what happened through that conversation that Game Informer posted an article saying, "No, the game is gonna have some microtransactions." So your thoughts about that? Was it Randy just misinforming the audience, the consumer, or you think it was more Game Informer just trying to start like a clickbait for people to go to their website and read the article? What do you guys think about that, man?
I don't know. I guess depending on whose side you go on from the reveal and the live stream, I think, we all watched it, live on Twitch or YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
His statement was there will be no microtransactions. And I think the confusion is the definition of microtransactions in Randy Pitchford's perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
He made it seem as if we're not going to have any microtransactions. But if you look at it from what was stated on the screen, there is going to be cosmetic items for sale post-launch, which translates to microtransactions. The important question will be, will these post-game microtransactions be more valuable or more desirable than what is currently offered in-game? Or will they be the same, just giving the gamer the option to buy them at their leisure? That's probably the most important part to me. I don't have a problem with microtransactions because I understand the model, and we've had this conversation, so I don't want to drag that dead horse back out onto the road, right? But I think it was a misunderstanding. That doesn't warrant the 17 tweet storm blast that Randy Pitchford went off on. I think it was a misunderstanding. I do think that Randy Pitchford should probably go back to Google and figure out what microtransactions truly mean to the gamer and maybe reacquaint himself with that. But I don't know. I see both sides of it, but I don't know if it's a major topic. I just don't know if the way he went about it was the right way.
Yeah. Paris?
I mean, it really just comes down to, was it necessary for Game Informer to say what they said? Not really. I get they were trying to clarify his statements. We all knew what he meant. Everybody knew what he meant. That's why people cheered after he said it, because they knew this was about loot box stuff. This was about, it wasn't content that you had to pay for to be better in the game or to get started. It was all cosmetic. Everyone understood that, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he misspoke. Game Informer said what they said to clarify it, but at the same time, the way the title of what they said was, it was a little clickbaity, just a little bit. A
little something.
It was to kind of gain attention to their article, right? That was the whole point of it. His response, out of line. Shouldn't have done that. Absolutely should not have done that. Can't defend that at all. So at the end of the day, I understand what both were trying to do, but both were wrong too. You see what I'm saying? So it's one of these things of where we're at now in the internet and social media and, Game Informer. Because look, was it Andy McNamara? I believe it was.
Yeah.
He wasn't even fucking there. He wasn't even there. That was the other part why Randy was upset about it. But at the same time, we're at this point where every damn thing has to be an outrage. Everything. It's like, Jesus Christ, this was a happy event. It was something to be celebrated. So why did we have to interject a little nitpick like that? well, you said microtransactions, and really, you have to include cosmetic because cosmetic is also a microtransaction. I mean, that's all this was. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I really could freaking care less that Randy Pitchford misspoke about this, because basically all he was saying, very similar to the Division, by the way, the only items that you have to pay for, they're not helping you in the game. They're optional. We're not forcing you to buy anything. If you want to get it, get it. If you don't, we're not ruining your experience. It's basically all he was saying in that. So it's just like, my God, this, like, every freaking YouTuber on the planet had to make a video about it, a freaking 3-hour video dissecting both sides. We're talking about it now. And at the end of the day, who freaking cares, really? Other than, I think Randy Pitchford needs to stop ranting on Twitter. You know, at the end of the day, he winds up looking bad because of this, because of his rant. Because you know what? Let's be honest. He said exactly how he felt. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I was Randy and Game Informer did a little freaking clickbaity article, I'm going to think the same exact thing. I'm going to say offline to you guys the same exact thing. I'm just not going on Twitter and say it. That's where he screwed up.
You know? And the thing that we were talking about behind the scenes, I feel like the reveal was so well done, right? For the first time, I'm seeing the dev team going on stage, and everybody's like standing ovation, thanking the devs for making the game that they've been working on for 4 years. There was a lot of positive things during the conversation during the reveal, right? But I think this drama outshined that, and now everybody was focusing more on the negative side than the things that we liked during the review, you know? So, yeah, I think it was a huge mistake from Randy to start talking on Twitter and making it worse. And, yeah, like you said, Paris, yeah, clickbait for sure from Game Informer. I don't know. It was very exhausting. Like, I even stopped reading all the tweets and everything. I'm like, I don't want to reread that, man. Let me focus on the good things, man. You know, because it got me excited about the game, man. You know, I don't want to kill my vibes just because, you know, two people were going back and forth, man. Because I know Andy was replying back to Randy back and forth the whole time too, man. I don't know. It's exhausting as hell, man.
No, I get it. Now the important thing is that I'd like to mention in support of what Gearbox did is, you know, they did 45 minutes on stage, right? Mm-hmm. We're not going to talk about all the other stuff, whatever. Then I think the great thing that they did was they allowed 5 hours of unfiltered, uninterrupted gameplay from all the other streamers and content creators that they invited out there. And they just said, here's the game. Yep. Here's an OBS PC. Go at it. Have fun. That shows how much trust and confidence he has in the game, which is fantastic because you don't really see that. A lot of times, 95% of the times we'll go to an event and, we'll get, a console or a PC. And if we're allowed to stream, okay, we're only going to do this part. We're going to do this part. Or here, you're going to record it. You go home and you release it. For them to allow all of those content creators to stream it unfiltered and uninterrupted, live and direct from their machines, I think that was a fantastic move by them from a PR/marketing perspective, and kudos to them. So at the same time, while we're going to blast them, I think we should also give them some credit on that as well.
For sure. And that I think everybody had the freedom to do whatever they want in the game. So yeah. For like this
they didn't stop them they didn't stop or sandbox them or say, no, you can't go here. You can't go here. Only show. No, they said, here's your PC. Bye. We're going to be out in the back room smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. And if you were watching the stream, they had a lot of screens, man, like for people to play. Yeah. So that was good, man. I know it was trending on Twitch, #1, and there was people, also YouTubers there capturing a lot of footage. I think that's good, man. Now I wonder what's going to be next now from after E3, because I know they're going to be at PAX. They're going to GuardianCon, which I was surprised about that. Yeah. That was cool. And also they're going to PAX. That's good, man. Really, really positive. Really, really good. Yep. I can't wait to check it out during E3, man. So anything else before we go to the next topic?
Move.
No?
Go move.
All right.
Go forward.
All right, so we're going to take a short break, and once we come back, I'm going to be reviewing Mortal Kombat 11 for the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, I have a lot of things to say about that. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, so we're going to be talking about Mortal Kombat 11. Yes. Are you a fan of Mortal Kombat? So this game is available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and also Nintendo Switch.
Is it possible that the past and future are colliding? Only Kronika has such power.
I intend to restart history. Let the new era begin.
So I had a choice which version I should review, and I decided to review the Nintendo Switch version. So first thing first, I have this game. I downloaded this game for the Switch, and the file is pretty big. I'm just letting you know out there because it's the actual game, plus there's an update, which a couple days ago, a brand new update just came out, and that was like 9 gigs, just the update alone. So, but the game overall for that version, Nintendo Switch, it looks really, really good. I mean, if you compare it to the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, of course, those versions are going to be 10 times better, like 1080p, 4K, all that, right? It looks a lot better and it's a lot smoother, right? But honestly, believe it or not, this version looks really, really good. So there's a brand new, all new story mode, which is really, really good, the story. All right, you're going to be playing a lot of the characters in the game from the different chapters, and from there, you get used to like their moves, and so on. You can't do fatalities on this one, but I think it's a great way to start. So at least you get used to the different characters and stuff. So, but I have to say, Ronda Rousey's in this game. She's Sonya Blade. Her performance is pretty bad. There's parts in the game that it was like, okay, it's decent, and there's some parts that is like super, super obvious that you could tell that there was like no emotion, nothing. It's very meh. I don't know. Maybe, of course, they got her to be in the game because it's just her name, Ronda Rousey. I get it, but overall, besides that, the game is a lot of fun. You will get to see characters from the old school version of the game, from like the past. So, of course, a lot of people are going to be asking, okay, who's in there? Of course, Scorpion, Raiden, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya Blade. There's a lot of characters on Khan from the old school iconic characters. So for sure, definitely check it out. So now the game has a lot more modes, challenges, and rewards. Now, if you have the PlayStation 4 version or Xbox One, you definitely have to be online to get like certain rewards in the game. Now, Nintendo Switch version is the only version where you could go and play this anywhere. You could play on the TV or on the go. Now, if you're offline, there's going to be some stuff that you're going to miss in the game. You can't connect to the servers. So, yeah, that's only a little bit disappointing because why not save those, like your points or something like, right? Like the stuff that you collect offline. And then once you go online, you download it. I think that would have been cool. But, yeah, you're not connected to the servers. You're going to miss a lot of opportunities. So, not a big fan of that stuff. So. But of course, there's the all new crushing blows, which on that, let's say you're fighting with an enemy, a character, right? And there's certain spots that you will hit them, and they'll do like a close up version of that attack. It could be kick, punches, and you'll see like the other characters, like their bones that you're hitting them, and they're really getting hurt. And I think it's more of just the timing of it, and of course the fatalities in there too in the game. Now, if you go to the menu, there's also like easy fatalities, and there's also the ones that are like more like harder. That one you gotta like learn and figure it out. So I only have done like the regular fatalities. I haven't really been doing like the more difficult ones. So online, let's talk about online. So if you're a fan of Smash, I know that everybody loves the offline mode, where you could play multiplayer and everything, but online is very, very disappointing. The lag still continue. right? So I'm expecting, okay, it's going to be the same exact thing for Mortal Kombat. And actually, online for this game is really, really good. Super, super surprised on that. Of course, if you have the Nintendo Switch app, you could also do like a chat with the other player. That works fine. But yeah, super impressed with online mode. You could play the regular 2-on-2. You could play ranked. There's different options where you could choose in the game to play online, and is awesome. Super, super cool.
We must find Kronika's keep and strike it as hard and as fast as we can muster.
We defend Kronika as she rewrites history.
Yippee-ki-yay, right?
Like I said, I'm really enjoying this game. The negatives is Sonya Blade. The voice acting of Ronda Rousey was pretty disappointing. It's really bad. Second is, if you're not online, you're going to miss out a lot of stuff. It's better to play this online. So you could connect to the servers and collect a lot of rewards. And there's also going to be more stuff to do in the game if you're online. If you're offline, you can still play, but you're going to miss out a lot of stuff. So again, this game is more the 25 years in the making. You're going to see a lot of the iconic old school characters there, and also the current ones, present time. Story mode is a lot of fun. Multiplayer is a lot of fun. This is a must-have if you're just a fighting fan, or even a fan of Mortal Kombat. Definitely check it out. This is a must-have. And honestly, I don't feel like I'm missing out because I don't have the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 version. I have the Nintendo Switch, and I'm still loving it so, so much. All right, so that's it. That's my review. I want to thank Warner Brothers for sending me a code, and see you online, guys.
Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so we're back here, Gamer Tag Radio. Thank you for listening to my review of Mortal Kombat 11. And Pete, he's a detective now. I know there was some Tom Clancy Easter egg or video. I don't know what this video was. I don't know if they were promoting a new game or promoting Ghost Wildlands. Like, I have no idea. But Pete, I'm gonna call him Sherlock Holmes for this episode.
Sherlock Pete.
Sherlock Pete
Holmes. Sherlock Pete.
So Pete, tell us what's been going on in the whole Tom Clancy world, man.
Okay, so back in Ghost Recon Wildlands, you guys recall last year there was an introduction of Splinter Cell and Sam Fisher, who was part of the game. If you paid attention to some of the things or some of the screens or whatnot in the game, there was mention of SkellCon or Skell. Skell is a technology firm within the Ghost Recon / Rainbow Six world and universe. That's it's a parts manufacturer company. In the game, you saw things like I think it was Miss Bowman or Sam Fisher was downloading files and taking them and putting them on some of the enemy factions computer service for distribution in the game. Just recently, there was a release of a website and YouTube marketing campaign from Ubisoft for an event called SkellCon, which is supposed to be happening on May 9th. It's going to launch at 11:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern. Nobody really knows what it entails, but on the website, if you looked at it, there was a chance for you to enter a username or password. Or it was actually an employee portal that you clicked, and you would put your username and password. If you look to the top right, there was an About Us that if you clicked and it sent you to a video that walked you through. It was like a PowerPoint video sales deck of what Skell was going to do, Skell technology. And it was a walkthrough with an audio from Jay Skell, who is the purported CEO and president of Skell, talking about their new drones, how it could help the medical and farming and construction businesses. And then that's when people started going deep diving. And that's kind of like where I started going down the rabbit hole. In one of the most recent releases called Operation Oracle, there was a scene where you have Kate Bowman, who is your handler as one of the ghosts. She got an invite to SkellCon. There was also in the game, you'll see different parts. There's a drone area, there's a username and a password. And if you put those credentials into the website for Skell Technology, you would see that same video trailer for the drones. There's a PowerPoint. There's a PDF file that's like a sales order form for these. And then there's the last one, which talks about Project Aurora, which nobody knows about, as well as mentioning how one of the salespeople or one of the scientists for Skell has been kidnapped or is missing somewhere in Bolivia. So, the people in the Tom Clancy, forums and Discord have been going wild and crazy, looking for clues and additional details. It's been pretty interesting. I've been digging deep because obviously I'm a huge Tom Clancy fan, and even on our Discord we were talking. We were like, okay, is this going to be a Watch Dogs because it looks technology and computer related? But we all determined that Skell is actually tied into the Tom Clancy and Ghost Recon / Rainbow Six universe. So I'm curious, is it going to be like some kind of another hybrid, introduction of a Sam Fisher character into Ghost Recon Wildlands? Is this going to be a whole new IP? If I'm not mistaken, I think Ubisoft has been teasing a new title for 2019 that's been unannounced. So could this be Paris's, next Splinter Cell? Because I know he's a huge fan of Splinter Cell. So could this be a new Splinter Cell game, or could this be a new Ghost Recon game that's separate and outside? Knowing the way Ubisoft likes to games, follow the games as a service model, I don't think we'll see a brand new add-on or a brand new title to Ghost Recon. I think if this is Ghost Recon related, it'll be as an add-on feature to the Wildlands title. Who knows? I would love to see this as an introduction to Sam Fisher and Splinter Cell all over again. I think it's been sorely missed in the gaming industry.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a tough one. Could it be a new Splinter Cell or Watch Dogs? I don't know. Like, you're right. I don't see this as a Ghost Recon thing. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the whole thing. Paris?
No, I was going to say this goes back to an offline conversation Pete and I were having a few days ago. Yeah, you're correct, because I had said offline, oh, maybe this is Watch Dogs, but you're right that all these teases that they've been doing inside of Ghost Recon have been towards a Tom Clancy game. So whatever it's going to be in the Tom Clancy universe, and obviously Watch Dogs is not a part of Tom Clancy. Yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see, and I agree. I doubt this is another Ghost Recon game. It's crazy to think that I feel like this current Ghost Recon Wildlands game still has a lot of gas in the tank. You know what I mean? Like, there's still so many things they could potentially do in that open world that I don't think they need to bring out a brand new game and a brand new world and characters and the whole thing. I think they can still do a lot of stuff just in this world. So I don't think it's going to be Ghost Recon. I would love it to be Sam Fisher, and they've already teased Sam Fisher inside of Ghost Recon Wildlands. So the precedent is there. I mean, I guess we'll see, man. I'm excited to see what this turns out to be. But again, and I hate gassing up Ubisoft, but I'm gonna gas up Ubisoft right now because look at what we're talking about. We're talking about Ghost Recon Wildlands, which came out in what, 2016?
17. March of 2017.
Yeah.
It's 2 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Time
and they're
flies.
still able to do things with the game. They not giving up support on the game. They're still adding things to it. They're still giving people a reason to go back to it. So I love how Ubisoft continues to support their games, no matter how successful they are. They continue to give it some type of support so that if you're a fan of that particular kind of game, you have a reason to go back to it. Or if you're a fan of another title and it all lives in that same world, they're putting features of another game or hinting towards another game inside that game to give you an incentive. So, you know what? Because it's free right now with the little DLC they're doing, you could pick it up right now for free and play it. So maybe that sparks you to go, you know what? I like this Ghost Recon game. I'm going to go buy it and play the whole thing or whatever. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see these kind of little teasers, and I'm pretty sure this is obviously going to lead into some type of new Tom Clancy game. And we'll probably hear more full reveal at E3 would be my guess.
Yeah.
Do you think that? Oh, go for it.
No, I was just going to say, they just released Operation Oracle, which is a new add-on for Ghost Recon Wildlands. It features John Bernthal, aka the Punisher, right? And Shane from the Walking Dead series. So, he's been busy, and this is a whole new story arc. That adds on to the whole Wildlands. To the Wildlands universe. So again, with the release of this and then, the tease launching just after the release of Operation Oracle, I don't think this is going to be a Ghost Recon, a new Ghost Recon title, etc. But I do see it as, a tie-in again, because of that tie-in with Sam Fisher from Wildlands. I think I'm going to hedge my bets and go towards a new Splinter Cell. God willing.
Yeah, same here too. Because if you play the last Assassin's Creed game, Odyssey, there's also a teaser there of a Splinter Cell in that game too. So most likely that's what it is, man. But my question to you guys: do you think it's better for Ubisoft to announce it this week, or save that surprise during E3 for, like, let's say, at their press conference or at a Microsoft press conference? Because being there at a press conference, forget about the convention, more just being there at a press conference and they show a surprise like, hey, this is a new game coming out pretty soon. That crowd reaction is very special, and it created a lot of buzz too, man. So what do you guys think? Is better for them to do that or no? No, I know what you're saying. Mm-hmm. That was effective 10 years ago. Right. We live in a different age now, man. With social media, if I'm Ubisoft and I have a new game,
I'm going for the viral.
I'm doing it now because guess what? I'm going to own the news cycle now. Everyone's going to be talking about it. Everyone's going to be paying attention to what we're saying. It'll blow up on social media, Discord, everywhere else, right? So that's what I would do, because the whole let's get the crowd crazy. I'm just going to be frank here. I don't care about the freaking 500 people that are sitting in the crowd. I care about the 10 million people that are actually out there that potentially could be playing that game. And you're going to reach way more of them doing it early instead of at a press conference where you're fighting for the attention during E3 week. And look, I'm not trying to turn this into a E3 is not relevant anymore, but guess what? E3 ain't relevant anymore. I can tell you this. So to answer your question, yeah, I would reveal it before E3, own the media cycle for a few days where I don't have to compete with it. And look, we have another news story coming up later on the same subject. Do it now. Mm-hmm. Don't do it at E3. Use E3 to just elaborate on it further. That's what I would do.
Yeah. No need to share the spotlight with other titles. You have you have it for the entire news cycle now prior to, and then you just piggyback and vault off of what you do at E3. But right now, you get it out in the wild, let people know. Hell, you have us talking at 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning right now about it to viewers. And then tomorrow morning, people are going to be listening to it on the podcast. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Get it now, get it out now, and then go from there.
Think of it this way, to bring this full circle back to what we're talking about with Borderlands 3. What if they waited until E3?
No, I agree.
Everything they just did at that reveal event wouldn't have the same impact. They wouldn't have been able to do what they did of own the news cycle for this week, have hundreds of streamers come out and YouTube content creators basically come out, stream the game, capture content on it, talk about it. Randy couldn't go on a Twitter rant. People would care. None of that. If Randy would have on that same Twitter rant during E3, it would have been forgotten in about 5 hours because there would have been some new announcement and everyone would have moved on. Right.
Yep.
And not that that's a positive thing. Look, news is news. So that just drew more attention to his game, whether he was right or wrong for doing that. But the point is, get out ahead of the madness that is E3 and own that cycle, own that news day with your game. All the attention's on your game.
Yep. No, totally agree. Totally agree. And now we're going to go to another topic, which kind of relates to what we're having right now. So I know that Activision was mentioned that the new Call of Duty game is coming out later this year, and I believe who is the developers you think, Pete, that's developing for this game that's coming out this year? Do you know? Is Infinity Ward, right?
Yeah.
So one thing,
that
game is going to have campaign. It's not going to have battle royale, which is very interesting. But the game also is going to have and I quote, game-changing experience. We don't know what it is yet, but we're probably going to find out later this year. And the part that got the most attention that everybody's also talking about it is that this game is going to get revealed June 30th, the end of June, after E3. Not before E3, not during E3, but after E3. Super, very interesting that's going to happen with Activision now. Your thoughts about all this, guys, and what is it that you think that could add new in the game that it's not battle royale anymore?
I'm not sure what they'll add. So, I mean, we'll obviously see when we get closer to that date. But again, it just goes right back to what we were just saying. They're basically skipping E3 with what will be Activision's biggest game for this year, which will be one of the top 3 biggest games of this year. They're not showing it at E3. It won't be playable at E3. What does that say? Again, look, I'm not trying to turn this to the E3 thing, but they realize that Call of Duty is big enough that they don't need E3 to be able to show their game. And they're not even doing it before. They're being gangster enough. They're like, look, y'all can go do the E3 thing. We'll show it after. We'll have everyone paying attention to us after. They're probably going to tie it into in one of their Call of Duty World Leagues, if you ask me. You know what I mean? So why not? I mean, we've seen over the past decade how big Call of Duty has been. Love it or hate it, doesn't matter. It ain't what the conversation's about. But it has been the biggest game since 2007. I don't even think that can be argued at this point, right? And Activision knows it. And look, we know last year there wasn't a campaign because they couldn't finish it in time. So they pivoted and put the focus on the multiplayer, the zombies, and obviously the battle royale. I do think it's smart that they're not doing battle royale this time because I think they should spin off battle royale into its own thing. They can absolutely just copy the Apex model with this, make it free to play, and have that game be supported on its own just through, obviously the loot boxes and all that stuff. But you know what you're getting into when you play it. I don't know if you played like the Alcatraz map out on Blackout. I don't know if you guys played it or not. I took a peek at it. It's fun as hell. I wish I honestly, I need to play it more. And I mean, I don't think Call of Duty's Battle Royale gets enough love right now because obviously Apex and Fortnite's taking all the attention from it. But going back to the original point, no. I mean, Call of Duty coming out after E3, in my opinion, is a smart move because, again, they're going to own the news cycle of it. All the content creators were probably all going to come out to some big event for it, and we're going to play it, and we're going to talk about it. Oh, man, the multiplayer is fun as hell, and oh, this new mode they're doing. Hey, wow, I didn't think they were doing this. Wow, I can't wait till November. And then we're going to look at the NPDs, and this is the best-selling game of 2019 all over again. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
And it's been working for them for years. Yeah. Every year it's been working for them. Yeah. Pete?
I'm curious what they're going to do with all of their other IPs, right? And shout out to them for releasing Sekiro, which has been, phenomenal critical success.
Love that game. Game is awesome.
But they lost Destiny.
Did they lose it or did they get rid of it?
Here's the thing. Their other major flagship, Overwatch, it's a dying whale, right? That thing is going the way of the dodo soon too. From the way it's been looking, they have to be able to uber support Call of Duty because that's their goat. That's their golden goose. That's the one that lays the big bags of cash for that company. What else can they do? I mean, again, a game like Sekiro comes along every few years. That's the unicorn. But how do you subsidize that for the overall company in general? You can't support it based off of Candy Crush and things like that. So they have to. They have to go all in on Call of Duty. So this is also why they have 3 studios supporting that in general. Mm-hmm. So
dude, I'm super curious. Like, what are they going to do at E3? If this game is going to be announced after, is it? No, yeah.
Well, here's the question: is it confirmed that Activision has a booth space there?
No, well, the past few years, except last year, because last year they had an actual booth. But there's been a couple of years that just they had a little room, and that's it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I'm curious if they've already been confirmed to actually have a booth at E3, because if they don't, why are they going?
Yeah, you know what, Sherlock Pete, Sherlock Pete, check out if there's any map of E3. Go online and search, man. Google's your friend. Yeah, Paris. I'm super curious because is there anything new coming out later this year for Destiny? Because if
they're not, that partnership's over. So again, Bungie's going to have something. There'll be something Destiny related in the fall. I mean, we don't know if it's a full expansion yet, if it's another annual pass, whatever the case. But whatever it is, it sure as hell ain't going to be showcased by Activision. We know that. So again, what are they showing? If Call of Duty's not there, if they're not just going to have a big giant multiplayer Call of Duty booth at E3, what are they doing?
The only thing I could come up with, unless Activision is publishing a game that we don't know about, and they'll have it at one of the press conferences and probably have a little meeting room to show that, and that's about it. That's the
you would think a
only
new
thing
IP would be the only thing that they have to announce, because it's not going to be.
Yeah, but even then, I don't hate ranting on this. I love ranting about this because if I'm Activision and I have a brand new IP and that's really all and I'm not going to show Call of Duty at E3, right? Am I really spending the millions of dollars that it's going to take to showcase a new IP on the show floor? Am I really doing that? Unless I just have so much confidence in it.
Yeah.
That's why maybe that's why they're doing it post E3 with their dedicated event with with Call of Duty, because it can support its own thing. But maybe you use E3 to launch those brand new IPs that you don't have the confidence or you don't have the community behind it as much.
Look at Sekiro.
I agree. I agree what you're saying, Pete. I agree what you're saying, Pete. Hold on, Danny. I agree what you're saying, Pete. But why am I doing my own booth at that point? Go stick it at the Microsoft booth. You know what I'm saying? If it's a new IP, then I'm just debuting.
Right.
Hey, look, I'll rent a couple stations over at the Microsoft booth.
Maybe
let it be there.
Well, it would have to be multi-platform, right? At that point, you don't want to do it. Maybe you do it some at the Sony, some at the thing.
PlayStation's not there though. Remember?
I was gonna say
this. This is what I'm saying. Look, if I'm Activision, because this is all speculation at this point, we don't know nothing. We'll probably look stupid in a week. But if I'm Activision, I'm not having a booth at E3 if I don't have Call of Duty there. If I do have some new games I want to show, I'll have them at someone else's booth to show off, and then I'll just have a meeting room upstairs for the press, and I'll have behind closed doors meetings, and they can get a little hands-on up there. That's what I would do personally. This is me.
Yeah, you know what I just remember? I know there's a game coming out, like a racing game from Activision. It's the Crash Bandicoot racing game for the Switch. That's the only thing I know that's coming out. Is that enough?
I'm not dropping $5 million on a booth to show off Crash Bandicoot racing. That's just me.
I think they're gonna. I think Activision is gonna have something to show. It's not. Look, it worked with Sekiro. that game came out this year and it sold over 1 million copies. You know,
Okay, but again, back to my point. Did they have a Sekiro booth at E3 last year to show it off? They didn't need to.
But maybe there was a media room, something small. Because honestly, that's not $1 million to rent a
something
room.
small. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm talking the E3 spectacle giant Activision booth where everyone's. Why are they doing that? Right?
Somebody clip that, please. Just clip that. Thank you, Paris.
No, I'm serious though. Why would they do that? Why?
God.
That doesn't make sense to me. If it's not Call of Duty, why would you do it? I don't get it.
Yo, I'm laughing because the real Paris is right. You will see that E3 like oof, that little man.
As soon as you walk into the South Hall.
Yo, it was only 2 companies that would do that. It was Activision and EA. Every single time, man. Oh man,
I'm just saying. I'm reinvesting my money into something else. That's all I'm saying. You know,
the only other title I can think of is maybe Warcraft, right? But I mean, is that enough to warrant a whole new booth at E3? It's not. Especially if they're gonna have their. I mean, it's Activision. They're gonna throw money anyways. You have to spend money to make money, right? So they're probably going to have a booth to showcase whatever they're going to highlight. Maybe not. I don't know. Because if they're going to do a whole event, do you do it at E3? Like, do you showcase anything at E3?
Look, it just makes no sense. We're saying all this, and the rumor's false, and Big Jack Call of Duty booth at E3. We're all wrong. That's probably what's going to happen.
Hey, we're just having a conversation. Then we're going to hear the beat. We're going to be dancing and everything, man. It's so funny. All right, so next week we're going to have our Miss Leo E3 predictions. I know a lot of people are very excited about that. But here's the part that's like, it's going to be kind of hard. There's not going to be much going on at E3. This is like the year that we only know like a couple companies are going to be there and promoting their games. But like the major third parties, like what else, man? They're going to be promoting, man. You know, so
spoiler alert: we're not going to have an Activision section for Miss Leo because we just did it.
And no PlayStation.
No,
basically
no PlayStation.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, though. Here's a question.
Yeah.
PlayStation isn't at E3, but will they, on their own, have any kind of announcement during that week?
All right. So here's a mini Miss Leo prediction.
Hey, darling. This is certified psychic Miss Leo. The guys at Gamertag Radio have pulled me out of retirement to give them some free readings. So I've been using the power of the tarot cards to look into the future, baby. You hear me?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Yes, they are going to have something very, very small. Have a little video stream. Show the games that's coming out this year. VR, smaller games, and that's it. Move on. Nothing big, no big announcement. Nothing like that. Very, very small. If they do add something big, maybe an announcement of the official date of The Last of Us, that's it. That's it. That's it. Do you guys agree or disagree?
No, I do think it'll be something minor. They're not going to announce like The Last of Us 2 is coming out on this date. They're not going to do anything like that or have big video or anything. I do truly believe they're going to hold all that stuff for their own event later in the year. But something minor, something maybe towards some indie support they potentially could be doing, maybe more on the VR front, things like that. But yeah, as far as big PlayStation 5 announcements, Death Stranding, Last of Us 2 announcements, they're not going to do any of that at E3 at all. Yeah. I just don't see the point.
Yeah, I think it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up here. Head over to gamertagradio.com. Post your comments and feedback, of course. Join our Discord server if you want. Have a conversation. Let us know if we're right or we're wrong. If you like the show, if not, let's talk. Go over there to Discord, discord.gg/GTR. That's discord.gg/GTR. And Pete, donations update. Donations update for E3 2019. How's that looking?
All right. Shout out to Drunk Shaman using 100 bits earlier in the show. Woo. Driver C dropped a $50 donation. I may be quiet, but I really enjoy listening to the conversations you guys have. Keep up the good work. Remix 52 dropped 100 bits as well. And I think that's it.
That's it. All right.
Well, and as usual, we can use your help covering any travel costs and, upgrading our equipment as we head into the E3 and the rest of the conference, the rest of the conferences for 2019. So anything you guys can do will help, and your contributions will, help us do more for you guys. So head on over to donate.gamertagradio.com, please.
Yeah, head over there. And hopefully by next week, we're probably going to have an update, hopefully, about our E3 status. We'll see. Anything else, guys, before we wrap it up? That's it?
I think that's it.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up. Until next time, we're out. Peace. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.